I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 198, When Forgiving Doesn't Mean Forgetting. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to another episode. So delighted, as always, to be here with you today. I've got a great episode to cover today, all about forgiveness and the concept of forgiving and forgetting. Before I dive into that, I've got some important things to share with you. First of all, if you have not gone over and checked out my Heal on the Go channel, it's over in Telegram. The link will be here in the show notes. You can find it down in the show notes. It is an audio experience with me where I drop right around 2 audios a week. I try to stick to at least 2 a week. And they are deeper. We go in deeper than I do here on the podcast. I talk to both the person who did the betraying as well as the one who was betrayed. There's content for both people there. It is short little snippets of trainings of things that I feel compelled to talk about that day. Go check it out. If you want more content like this, but that goes in even deeper with more nuance and even more personal, because it's that kind of a place where I can go in a little bit deeper than I do here, go check it out in the show notes. One more super fun thing that I want to share with you is that I have been operating from the same branding, the same colors, the same imagery, the same everything, the same pictures, even since 2019. And as I have grown, as I have expanded, as I feel like I have lived a lifetime since 2019, so much has happened since 2019, I decided it is high time for a rebrand. And so keep your eyes open. The podcast is getting a facelift. The cover art, my website, everything that I put out in the world is going to have a different look, a different feel, new images of me that represent so much life and growth and experience of coaching so many of you and learning so much from you and being with you, and hours and hours and hours and hours of all the different trainings that I have done to grow and to really expand. And the new imagery is going to represent all of that and more power and ability to help people get into their own power rather than kind of sitting next to you on a park bench. It's more the feeling that I wanted and that I hope you feel when you're here is that I've got you and that we're moving. We are going. We are not staying in this painful place. We're going to go. We're going to go, and we're going to help you get your life to where you feel good, where you feel like you can trust yourself again, where you feel like the world has opened back up to you. Okay, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be exciting, and I am excited for you to check it out when it is live. It's going to be within the next few weeks that this will be live. Okay, on to our episode today. Here we go. Forgiveness. Forgiving does not mean forgetting. Why? First of all, have you ever been told to forgive and forget? Forgive and forget. Or have you brought something up and been told, when are you going to forgive that? When are you going to let that go? When are you going to forgive? If you keep bringing it up, it means that you haven't forgiven. I want to say unequivocally that forgiveness does not require forgetting. In fact, remembering can be protective, wise, and very deeply necessary. Forgiveness, my definition of forgiveness, means dropping the emotional baggage that we're carrying with it. It's releasing resentment and anger or a desire for revenge. We've set it down. We are no longer willing to carry it. We no longer are willing to punish ourselves with carrying so much. Forgetting means wiping away the memory or acting as if it never happened. So forgiveness is an internal process of letting go. Forgetting is denying or erasing reality, which can be quite harmful. Okay. Now, our bodies are so incredibly wise. Our bodies are so wise. Our bodies can hold on to memories when our minds want to move on. I'm going to tell you something on the personal side without giving too many details, but in the last while, if you've been around a while, you know that there's just been some curveballs in my life around having a baby unexpectedly and just a lot of different things. When you have 12 children and in-law children and grandchildren and a busy spouse and all the moving parts, that you're going to have life, right? You have life come up, as all of you do. And what I'm kind of in right now, really in, is this space of going, for a while, I was putting all of my emotional labor towards some very specific situations in my life, towards solving them, towards getting some peace around them, or getting some questions answered around some specific things. What has been quite interesting is that as I have healed in these other areas that were commanding my attention, that were demanding my attention, what has happened is that some things that I thought that I had totally dealt with and forgiven and all of that have popped up, and here we are, and here we go. And what I am learning and why I decided to record this podcast is because what I'm learning is that often what happens is that our mind will tell us that we have forgiven something. Our mind will tell us that we're good and that we don't need to visit the thing that we think we need to visit, or that we are good and that we can just let it go, and we can give all the benefit of the doubt to the people involved in that situation if there are people involved. Our mind can really take us there and say, oh, you don't need to feel sad about that. You don't need to go there. You don't need to feel that. We've got this. It's fine. I'm really sorry to say that I am learning firsthand that that's not quite how it works. What I am learning is that in these other areas that I have been facing and really growing in and feeling safe in, now some other things are coming up and going, Andrea, now it's time to look here. And I'm not going to lie and say that it's been easy. It's actually been quite painful. It's been quite painful because what it is asking of me is to actually listen to my body and drop out of my mind and listen to what my body is saying about the things that my mind are trying to minimize. How many of you understand this? What are you trying to minimize in your mind and saying, not a big deal, not a big deal. It's actually fine, or maybe not fine, but I know it's not okay, but I'm really strong. And so I can handle that. And I was made better for it. Like it helped me in some way. You're intellectualizing something that your body maybe is saying, okay. And we still have to feel it. We still have to process it. We still have to allow it. That's kind of been my year. That's kind of been my year. Whoa. It's kind of been an intense one. It's been an amazing year. I've had an amazing year because I am more intimately getting to know myself than I ever have. And on a very somatic level, on a body level, not just intellectual. In fact, the intellectual part has been losing its grip more and more and more. Isn't that fascinating? So when I have doubts creep in, or when I have worries creep in, or this and that, my mind is having less power and less authority, and my body is actually really informing a lot of my decisions, a lot of what I lean into, what I don't lean into, okay? So our bodies are so wise. And to that amazing book that you've probably heard me talk about before, The Body Keeps the Score. The body does, in fact, keep the score. The body knows what needs to be processed. The body knows what needs to be dealt with, and our body knows when it's safe to let it go. Our body knows when it is safe to let it go. Unfortunately, many of us have grown up in various cultures, whether it be family or organizations, church, whatever, that really promote this. You got to forgive and forget 70 times 7, right? That we have as many times as somebody offends us, we need to forgive them. And the thing that I find interesting about this is that the person that we credit to teaching that is Jesus Christ himself. And whether you are religious or not, or spiritual or not, hear me out in this part anyway, okay? This is not about any specific religion at all. It's more about understanding some things about Jesus. And what we know from various accounts is that he actually was somebody who felt things deeply. We know that he cried. We know that not only did he cry about his own pain, but he also cried for others' pain. He cried when his friends were hurting. We know that he experienced pain and that he didn't try to hide it, that he didn't try to be manly and not let people see that he was sad or that he was hurting in some way. We also know that he asked for help and that he didn't think that he was above help. And so when we think of this forgive and forget, it sounds very stoic. It sounds very godly even, but I think that we've got it wrong. If we can think about everything, every single thing that we've ever been told about how we should be, in its purest form, it comes from a place of love, in its purest form. And the problem is that we have really gone far off the mark from that. We've gone far off the mark in the way of forgiveness. And in sometimes the way that we talk about it is like, it would just be more comfortable for everybody if you could forgive, or you wouldn't have to feel so bad all the time if you could just forgive. And the reality is that if we can find the roots of love in forgiveness, forgiveness is loving to the forgiver, to the person forgiving, to the one who is forgiving. The roots are in love for the person forgiving. The other person certainly benefits. The other person benefits, but the person who benefits the most is the one who forgives. Because what it really means is that they are moving past this place of cognitively forgiving and going, oh, I can see that this person's really trying, and or even if they're not trying, I'm tired of carrying this and I'm strong and capable and I'm going to move on with my life. And the deeper thing here is the wisdom in listening to your body, and your body saying, you have carried this enough and you are safe now to let it go. You are safe now to set this down. You are safe to not keep revisiting it in the way that you have been. You do not need to anymore. We do not need to go back to this place anymore. We can remember, but we don't need to go back to that place. And to me, that is such a gift. That is such a loving gift. Our bodies can let us know when that is okay to do. Our bodies will let us know when we can let it down. We can check in with our body. We can say, hey, body, hey, I think that I've stayed with this long enough, learned the things I need to learn, seen the things I need to see. Am I okay now setting this down? And making sure that you know that setting it down does not mean that we forget and that we can't talk about it anymore. Let's get a little bit more into that. Let's get into remembering, okay? Sometimes we want to remember because our body is having an emotional reaction. We're feeling triggered, okay? This can happen any old time, involuntarily. And the beauty in remembering is that remembering can help us to slow down, to look at what's in front of us, to go, oh, okay, this reminds me of this. Okay, this reminds me of this. And we can ask ourselves, is it the same? Is it actually the same? Sometimes is a cognitive remembrance, such as remembering a date. Okay, we can see the date on the calendar, go, okay, that's the 3-year mark. And I remember, okay? It can be a cognitive remembrance. Sometimes it's a body remembrance. The way that I'm talking about it here, it is just absolute wisdom. Our body's helping us to avoid patterns that will harm us again. Our body's saying, hey, we know that you have let this go, that our body has supported us in that. And I am going to get into that a little bit more so you know more what I'm talking about. But when we have let go in our body, sometimes our bodies will let us know, hey, this is a pattern. And I don't mean to alert you. I don't mean to lead you down this rabbit hole of feeling totally off kilter. But I just want to remind you that this reminiscent of like the old days and how things were, we don't want to do that again. Okay, we don't want to do that again. So just helping you pay attention and maybe course correct. Maybe there's something for you to course correct, some way of being, some way of handling things. Maybe it's in trying to control. Okay, trying to control. Maybe it's in a way of trying to punish. Maybe it's in a way of trying to avoid. And your body's like, we don't really need to do that, okay? And then on the other hand, sometimes it's a little reminder that even though your body has let you know that it's safe to let go, our body is also letting us know a new way of being in the world that often involves boundaries and upholding boundaries and saying, I'm not going to go back to the way things were, because that would basically be allowing myself to punish myself again, to be like setting myself up to be ultra exposed. And it doesn't mean that we don't run the risk of getting hurt again, right? But it does mean that we are doing everything we can that we can control to minimize harm, to protect ourselves, to protect our energy. So let me give you some real examples of what this could look like, okay? So let's say that you are having a conversation with your spouse and you've come a really long way to where most of the time you feel like the conversations are much more productive. But this one time you see a response in your spouse that is reminiscent of how it used to be, especially when they were lying to you. And your alarm bells go off, your body kind of starts to go, oh, look, here we are. Oh my gosh, we're going back. And maybe you say something and they go, oh my gosh, well, I thought we were past that. I thought we were moving past that. But your body is reminding you of this old pattern. Now, in this moment, we have a choice. We can choose to obey what our body is saying. And by obey, I mean, take our cognitive self offline and just let our body run wild. And often what happens in this space is that we can become ultra triggered, like we can become overly stimulated, very, very overwhelmed with emotion, go into full-blown panic, where that higher brain, okay, our brain is very active in all the worst case scenarios and painting all these stories, but our wise brain is offline. That prefrontal cortex is offline in this place. How it can serve us to feel that same feeling is keeping that brain online, keeping the adult in the room. Oh, I'm feeling this feeling. It reminds me of this. Is it really the same? Is it really the same? And then finding out if it's really the same. Looking at what is very, very different than what was happening before. Maybe looking at what is the same and voicing it. Hey, this reminds me of this. We've come so far. We've worked so hard. And I know I definitely don't want to go back to that place. I'm guessing you don't either. I noticed that you responded in this way. It kind of was alarming to me because it's not been that way for such a long time. Can you tell me what was going on with you when you responded in that way? Okay, this is a way of setting boundaries. This is a way of raising the bar and saying, we're not just going to drop back into these old patterns. I'm going to hold some accountability here for them. It also can remind us of going, in the past, when I was afraid, I would try to control and I would operate from a very fear-based place where I would accuse or where I would forecast the worst possible thing. And this time I'm going to keep that wise brain online and I'm going to slow that down and act deliberately and step into the things that maybe I need to talk about or want to talk about with confidence rather than fear. Okay. Another place where remembering can be very useful is where we can continue to integrate what we've learned rather than bypassing it. So bypassing it would go, okay, lesson done, onward and upward, don't need to revisit it. Integration means we are remembering it so that we can bring it back into our daily decisions and going, yeah, that's right. When I did it that way, this is kind of how it went. And we're not doing this to punish ourselves or to punish somebody else. We are doing it so that we can use it, so we can make it useful, so that we can take these things and use them for our good, so that all of it can be woven into more wisdom, into more strength, into more courage, into life experience that we are using the heck out of. We're going to use this baby. There's no way we're going to just skim over this and not use the painful experiences that we have to create something better for ourselves. All right? Now, what about when others say we haven't forgiven because we remember? This can be tricky. Bringing it up, however, does not mean you haven't forgiven. Okay? It may very well come from a healed place, especially when there is no emotional charge behind it. Just clarity, accountability, and truth. The thing that's so powerful about this, that I want all of you to listen to this piece here. When we have checked in with our bodies and learned that it's okay for us to set it down, that it's okay for us to release some of the pain, that we don't need to keep going back there and feeling it again and again and again. When we have kind of gotten the green light, like you're safe to let this go. You're good. Like this is good. You're not in danger anymore. You're safe to let this go. We can move forward. And when we have a moment that maybe something is remembered or there is an anniversary date or things like that, the thing that's beautiful is that our bodies can remind us that we already decided that it's okay to be safe. We might feel something. We might feel a little bit heightened. And we can use our bodies and our wise brain to help us get back online. We can use our wise brain to decide what to do with that feeling. Like, I'm going to go walk. I'm going to share with somebody my fear. I'm going to journal it out. I just want to cry. I just actually need to cry. Okay. And we can revisit these places and have much higher level conversations because they are not emotionally charged. Because we don't have intense emotions running the show, that we can really tap into our wisdom and go, okay, what is this here? And what do I want to do with it? And these are conversations that maybe need to be had, that just because I maybe said I forgive you doesn't mean we never talk about it again, and vice versa. But can we talk about it in a place that the emotions are managed, that we have emotional regulation around the intense emotions, that we can have these conversations without falling apart, that we can take accountability for what we bring into these conversations rather than making other people responsible for the intensity of our emotion. This is really, really important. If we continue to hold on to the intensity of the experience of betrayal or the experience of being the one who betrayed and the shame and guilt and things like that, we are keeping ourselves from the very things that we say we want. We are keeping ourselves from intimacy. We are keeping ourselves from even intimacy with our own bodies. We are withholding that from ourselves. And when we can step into allowing ourselves to hear what our bodies have to say and what we might need to still process, we are going to grow so much faster. We're going to get such better information. And ultimately, we will get to a place probably much quicker than you know, when we can let it go and know that our bodies have got us and that our minds are going to be able to help us with that. Okay? So if your spouse brings up, if you really forgive me, you wouldn't bring it up. Please hold on to this, that sometimes we bring things up to go back to that place of a boundary maybe that needs to be set, or a pattern that you have exposed that you're not willing to step back into. We can have these conversations without anger, without resentment, and really just as honoring your own needs and honoring what is right in front of you today, what is real in front of you today. Okay, so here are some body signals that could be telling you that it's safe to let go. 1, muscle tension releases. Your body is softer. Your body is softer. You don't feel like you're on guard all the time. You have more moments of movement. I'll tell you an interesting thing that I've been noticing. I am not one that's real uninhibited around, like in dancing situations where I just can let loose and feel totally free. I wish that I were. And it's actually something that I've been wanting to move towards, is more inhibition and more free movement. Well, guess what? That is one of the things that I'm noticing in my body, is that my body just wants to move. And it will tell me. I'll be standing there and feel stretches that want to be stretched, feel movements that want to be moved. I'll be listening to music and it's like my body wants me to move in different ways. What this is saying to me is that my body is continuing to heal, and that there are things that I don't need to carry anymore. Muscle tension releasing. Your nervous system, this is number 2, your nervous system calming down around a person or a memory. That when you go back to revisit that person or the memory, that it's more neutral, that it's more like, that thing happened. I actually don't feel a thing. Who knew, right? That signals that your body has held it long enough for you to heal it. Like your body has held it. You've processed it enough. Really, our bodies will hold on to it until we process it in a way that we treat it with love and care. It's not just feeling it over and over and over. It's letting our body know that an adult has it, that there's an adult in the room that is going to protect that part that is so afraid to let it go. Okay? It's not about endless crying and like, I've felt this so much, I've been in so much pain. It's more going, I have felt this pain enough, and I have informed that part that keeps going to that painful place that there is a grown-up in the room now, and that grown-up will take care of that part. And so it doesn't need to be so vigilant anymore. Amazing, right? So this piece is more about integrating. We have the memories, but the emotional charge dissolves. Our bodies don't need to hold it anymore. And how to remind ourselves we have forgiven when it gets hard. You well know that even after forgiving, memories can arise. This does not mean that you haven't forgiven. When the memory arises, gently remind yourself, I have forgiven this. I am safe now. I don't need to hold it anymore. I trust that I will take care of things if I need to. I do not need to hold this anymore. Avoid rehashing painful emotions unnecessarily by anchoring back into your decision to forgive. Go back to when your body let you know. Your body will never lie. Your body will never lie. If your body gave you a sense of peace and calm and you're good, trust your body, okay? Remember, forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's a continual practice of releasing the emotional grip each time it surfaces, okay? Now, a couple more things before I wrap it up. Forced forgiveness means pressuring ourselves to forget, pushing ourselves to forget. Why would we do this? Because we want to go back to the status quo. We want to go back to how things felt before. And we might think that by forcing forgiveness and saying, I'm just going to choose to forgive, that we are going to feel better, that we can move on with our life. This is a lie. It's a self-deception. Doing this can lead to ignoring and muting and masking your own intuition. Trying to hurry to an outcome can be going right over the part of you that actually really, really needs to be heard. Bypassing pain or fear often just results in repeating patterns again and again and again. Your body won't let you. Your body will not let you. But when we use our mind to force ourselves to forget, it's like if we have kids that know we have cookies and we try to pretend like we don't have cookies. We're not just saying no to the cookies. We're saying, what are you talking about? The cookies are gone, or there never were cookies. It's like we're doing that to our own body. What do you mean? Yeah, maybe there were, but they're gone now. What are you doing? It's so hurtful to ourselves. It's so cruel. We do this from trauma responses of freezing or fawning or disassociating, and we could call it forgiveness. We can call it forgiveness, but what it is actually is protective mechanisms masking as healing. It's not true. We don't need to force it. We need to grow our awareness of what's going on with our body and bring our brains to that, bring our highest, wisest self to what's going on in our body. True forgiveness means holding memory with wisdom. We can forgive while still remembering and honoring what we learned. Remembering is not holding a grudge. Remembering is holding wisdom. It's holding wisdom. Okay? All right, to wrap it up, I want to give you a few prompts, things that you can journal about, and check in with yourself, okay? Where have you tried to force yourself to forget in the name of forgiveness? What does your body still remember that your mind wants to dismiss? What would it look like to let forgiveness and memory work together rather than against each other? How can you remind yourself you've forgiven without needing to re-feel the pain each time? Okay, those are all questions I want you to take your time answering. You do not need to erase what happened to prove that you're healed. In fact, you don't need to prove anything, okay? Forgiveness itself is so honoring. When our body lets us know, like, move forward, it's okay, go. It honors you, and remembering protects you. I hope that this landed with you. I hope that you're able to find areas that maybe you are trying to forgive, but trying to bypass so you can go back to those places and revisit them. I hope that you can see areas where maybe your mind has forgiven, but your body is actually suggesting that something else needs to happen. I invite you into that. You got this, my friends. You're doing beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work that will bless your life and that will give so much to you and to those that are near you, those that are impacted by you. This is deep, deep work that we're doing here. I do want to say that if you want much deeper support in this, I invite you to go ahead and apply for my group, the Get Your Life Back After Infidelity. We do this work together. You get coached individually, but in a group setting where you get to witness others and be witnessed by others. I can't tell you how healing that is. I cannot tell you how healing that is. Where we get to do this work together, go deep, and really open up to the things that need to be seen so that we can let them go. Isn't that the goal? Isn't that the goal, to be able to let it go? All right, my beautiful listeners, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.